All right, great to see all of you. Again, this is Vintage Fitness. We're doing a walking webinar, and it's me and Tamara that are going to do this. We also have Dee from Vintage Fitness that's here. I'm sure that would be happy to answer questions. So as I'm doing the intro, everyone's flooding in here. So I'll just get you guys acquainted. Again, nice to see you. We're top tips for walkers. Look at all these walkers. This is amazing. All right, let's get going. So I know a lot of you, and a lot of you are clients, so you know this information, but for anyone that happens to be new to Vintage Fitness, I know a few of you joined through Eventbrite. We are very specialized. So we only work with older adults, and we're very specialized to work with older adults. Clients to achieve their health goals with us, it tends to be slow and steady, as opposed to, bikini body, that 90-day transformation before and after. We're not as into that. We're more into functional strength and making really small changes that can make incredible transformations over time. We've been doing this for a while. I founded the company. I was just chatting earlier. I founded the company when I was how old was I? I was 32, so I was pregnant with my middle daughter, and now I'm almost 50. So there we go. We've been on a journey together for sure. So the webinar is for you if you love to walk, and maybe you've been walking the same route at the same pace for years. You do your walk, you check, oh, I see a few hands up. I like it. You check the box. Walking can be more powerful than you're allowing it to be. So I'm hoping to kind of re-energize some new routes and some new ideas with walking. You have pain when you walk. Maybe the way you're walking, we need to fix a little bit. You want to burn more calories when you walk. It can be really quite a great way to burn calories if you do it properly. And you want to know a bit more about how to properly warm up and cool down after your walks. These are all things that we're going to cover this morning. So again, my name's Erin Bilowitz. I'm the owner of Vintage Fitness. We specialize in seniors, as I mentioned, and there's a team of 15. Is there 15 of us? I think there's 15 personal trainers across the GTA. All work with seniors. We do in-person work and we do virtual work as well. And Tamara, I'm super excited to have Tamara join us on the webinar. She's a personal trainer with Vintage Fitness, but she used to lead and develop programming in the hospital setting for a cardiac rehab program. So I wanted her to come on and just talk to us a bit about what walking for your heart looks like, and caution you and talk to you a little bit about heart health and the importance of walking with heart health. So again, if you're just joining us, welcome. I'm seeing people stream in. Great to see everyone. We're just kicking off, so you're right on time. Tamara, did I miss anything? Did you want to add anything to my intro there?
No, it's perfect.
Good. She's also amazing in terms of languages. You speak Hebrew and Russian, right? Amazing. Okay. So the benefits of walking. So on one side is a few benefits. On the other side is one of our clients have had some amazing success. So we know that walking is good for us. This is not new information for any of us, but this research would show that walking an average of 30 minutes a day can lower your risk of heart disease, stroke, and diabetes by 30 to 40%. It's incredible. So on the days where you're like, oh, I don't feel like going for my walk, you're reducing one of the biggest killers by 30 to 40% by going on that walk. So it is worth it. It's just amazing that impact, a walk can have. If you have high blood sugar, or even if you don't, a walk after a meal is a great idea. So it helps improve blood sugar regulation, especially in people with prediabetes. And then walking outdoors is kind of magical, I think. So it increases some levels of a natural substrate called a brain-derived neurotropic factor that helps to clean the pathways of the brain. This substrate is also present when we sleep. So in terms of brain health and dementia, walking outdoors is especially magical. And I don't know if the research has shown why. My guess is when you walk outdoors, there's a lot of things you're taking in. You're taking in the weather, the wind on your skin, the squirrel that's just ran by, the neighbor that's backing out of the car. Your brain is active. And so if you can walk outside, I prefer it over a treadmill. So the other side of the screen is about Sharon. She's one of our clients that it was stair walking that actually for 11 years, she was really struggling with her stair walking. It was painful. It was slow. She had to do a 2-step. So step one foot up, step the other foot up on the same stair, and really grip the handrails very tightly. So she worked with us for about 4 months, and she's really helped with the pain when she walks, and she's actually able to do 1 foot at a time on the stairs, which was important to her. And if she, I don't always advise it, but she is able to do it without her hands if she chooses, without holding the handrail. Nice to see you guys. Nice to see you, Pat. So this is getting ready for your walk. So I think I've shared the screen, the sound okay on the video. Maybe Tamara and Dee, you can let me know if you can hear it okay.
Hi, this is Erin from Vintage Fitness. This is the last in this series all about taking your workout outside now that we have the nice beautiful weather in Toronto. This series, I have a series of 4 exercises, and it's all around flexibility. So in the blog, you'll see that I give some tips around stretching. I like to start with dynamic or moving stretches to get the hips and the muscles warm before you get into your workout. So most of these are the dynamic type of stretches. The first one, make sure you're holding on to something, and it's a leg swing. So you're letting the leg hang heavy and you're just swinging it back and forth. This is really good if you have tight hips, or if you have pain in the lower back. Often when people have pain, for example, in their low back, it partly is to do with their hips being too tight. So not using this as strength, just letting that leg hang and making it feel good, swinging it front and back. And then you do the same thing on the other side, maybe about 10 or 15 times. Again, letting the leg hang heavy. Do hold on to something so you're not trying to balance while you do it. So the next exercise is for the hip joint, and it's really getting that ball and socket of that hip joint warm. So again, holding on to something, you're going to come up and out to the side and back, up, out to the side and back, getting that range of motion in the hip joint and warming it up before you get started. This is a good exercise to do in the water as well. It takes a little bit of the weight from the leg. So up, around, center, maybe about 8 on either side here. The leg will feel pretty heavy after a bit. And then an easy one to warm up the upper body is just, it's almost like elbow circles. So you're leaving with the elbow and doing circles back, getting the shoulders moving. Good. And then the other way. Good. Getting those rotators warmed up. Feels good, actually. Good. And the last one, which is a dynamic stretch for the back of the leg, I call it toy soldier. So standing up nice and tall, this will work your balance as well. You're going to go opposite leg, opposite arm, like a toy soldier, nice and tall. Your abdominals are engaged so that your lower back is protected, and it's a reach, 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 reach. So 4 great stretches to warm up before your walk. Good luck.
Okay, so hopefully those ones made sense. And if you have any questions, Tamara is monitoring the chat, so feel free to ask them. But they're easy ones. I wanted to do ones that you could try to do just as you walk out the door. So really kind of important to get the body a bit ready. If you're not into that, you think, oh, I just don't have the time, I just want to go for my walk. If nothing else, make sure you change pace. So start the walk a little bit slower. And then as your body's warmed up, then pick up the pace. Don't start like blazes. Let your body warm and get into it. Does that make sense? So far, so good. All right. Common walking mistakes, and welcome, Isabel. Nice to see you. Looking down instead of forward. And this happens often when we're concerned about falling. It just puts the head in the incorrect alignment. It's hard on the neck, and it's actually a risk for falling if you're looking down because you're not seeing what's in front of you. stepping too long, and I'll get into that. Often if we want to go faster, we think if I take a longer step, I'll be able to go faster. It's not actually true. I'm going to show you a video in a few minutes that if you take shorter steps a little bit quicker, it's better for the impact on your joints and your hip, and it's also just more efficient. Leaning forward. And I see this especially if someone has a walker or a cane. So just make sure if you do have a walker, you're lining your wrist up with the top bar of the walker. So make sure it's properly lined up, and try not to lean forward when you walk. That's hard on your back if you're leaning forward. Landing flat-footed instead of on the heel. I call this happy slappy feet, where people like land and they're landing the full foot down, as opposed to your foot was meant to land on the heel and roll through. And I'll show you that in a few minutes. Not using the arms, so just sort of deadpan arms. You want to bend the arms and drive them as part of your walk. Never changing the route or pace. And a few of you put your hands up on that. And I'm guilty of that as well. I walk my dog in the morning. I kind of do the same route. And when I change it up, it's like, oh, what's happening? Where am I? All of a sudden in the middle of my walk, I think, oh, I'm on a different route. My brain has to turn itself on a little bit differently. No warm up or cool down. The warm up I showed you is one option, just kind of getting the legs moving. The body really likes that leg swing. It feels good in the joint. It will feel good if you try it after this. I think you'll like it. And no complementing your walk with strength and balance training. So walking is amazing. We all should be doing it, but you should be doing 150 minutes of exercise a week. And that's based on Health Canada's guide for people that are 65 and over. So yes, that's you. That's you, 150 minutes a week. So walking is part of that, but you should be doing some strength training as well. And I'll show you some information on that. So as I say, if you have questions, a lot of people joined us as we've gone through. Feel free either to unmute yourself and ask the question, or put it in the chat, and Tamara and I are monitoring the chat. All right, so here's Walk Better. This is actually a video I just shot this morning. You'll see my dog peeing partway through. I apologize for this. It was what it was. It was like a real morning. Hi, this is Erin from Vintage Fitness. I wanted to go through a video specifically made for people that love to walk and maybe have done the same kind of walk with the same technique for years and years, and they think, oh, I'd love to make it more efficient, or I'd love not to have pain when I walk. So some of the things you want to think about before you walk is start with your posture. So making sure that your chin isn't jutted forward. So tuck your chin in, and you want to look forward. A lot of people look down when they walk, especially if you're worried about falling. So you want to keep the chin tucked, you want to look forward, and then you want to make sure your hips are under your shoulders so that you don't walk here or tucked too much. You just want them naturally under your shoulders. That's good walking technique. And then another thing that often happens with people is that they don't really use your arms. So if you want to increase the efficiency of the arms, burn a little bit more calories when you walk, you do want to use your arms. So you want to keep them bent at about 90 degrees with a relaxed fist, and you want to drive the arm back to about the hip when you walk. So you're kind of coming here. Don't worry about how it looks. It is more efficient, and it will keep your shoulders a little bit more engaged and your posture a little bit down. Oh, my dog's in the shot. There's my dog Bailey having a pee. So the other thing I want you to think about is where you're landing with your foot. So a mistake that a lot of people make is they actually land flat-footed. You want to land, if your balance is okay with it, and again, you want to increase your walking, you want to land with a flat foot. Where you can see my heel, so it's heel, toe. It's not flat foot landing. So you want to land with the heel and roll through. The mistake a lot of people make when they start to want to walk a bit faster is they take too long of a step. So the way to measure is at about 90 degrees, then you drop your foot. That's about the length that you want to step. So you want to just walk small steps with the arms is going to be better than trying to take really long strides. So enjoy the walking. Again, if you want a bit more information, Okay, sorry that was a bit quiet. I guess it was just my AirPods, but the key things that I talked about, some of them I had already discussed. Rolling through the heel was one, making sure that you're looking forward, making sure that your hips, you're not sticking the butt out or tucking so that your hips are just under your shoulders, and then not taking too long of a step. So if you lift your foot up and drop it, you put it to 90 degrees with the knee and drop it down. That's about the step length that you want. Most of us probably step a bit too long. So those were the key things that I talked about there on that video. So I'm going to hand it over to Tamara, who, again, for people that just joined us, she's a personal trainer with Vintage Fitness, and she used to manage and lead programming at a cardiac rehab program in a hospital-based setting. So I asked her to come and talk to us a little bit about walking for your heart.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. So as Erin mentioned, I have a little bit of experience with everything that is concerning exercise and heart health. I worked for 6 years in a cardiac rehabilitation clinic, and I just wanted to share a couple of kind of interesting bits of information with you about how we can make our heart healthier or keep it healthy through a simple exercise like walking. So the heart is the most important muscle in the body, and it functions as a pump. It circulates blood throughout the body, and it transports nutrients, oxygen, other chemicals to all of the organs. Okay, so it's absolutely critical our heart works and functions well. In short, it's responsible for maintaining proper functioning of our body. Okay, so if you're asking yourself, what does walking have to do with our heart health? It's a safe and accessible cardiorespiratory activity that almost everyone can do, of course, provided your doctor doesn't say otherwise. Cardiorespiratory activity is a type of exercise that activates our lungs and our heart first, and kind of puts the emphasis on that. Walking doesn't require special equipment. So this is one of the things that I really like about this activity, that you can do it anywhere, in almost any weather, and with minimal kind of financial investment. Of course, you need some good training shoes, okay, to maintain the health of your feet and your knees and your hips. But as I said, it can be done anywhere and at any time. So all cardiac patients that I trained were recommended by their physicians to walk as their first activity after heart surgery or a heart attack. Okay, the time, intensity, frequency, it changed, but the activity remained the same. Okay, they were asked to walk. And the reason for that is that the heart is a muscle, just like most of our muscles, and it can be trained to get stronger and more efficient. Okay, walking at a certain intensity, appropriate intensity for your fitness level, can elevate the heart rate and challenge the heart muscle. And that's the way we can make the heart stronger. Okay, so if you're walking and you want to be sure that you're doing the right kind of amount of intensity to really get your heart stronger and get the heart benefits out of the walk, you need to pay attention to two things: your breath and your heart rate. So unlike our other muscles, our skeletal muscles, which we can see and we can feel them getting bigger and stronger when we work out, the heart is hidden inside the body. Okay, so our first indication to our heart becoming stronger when we walk is that it gets easier to breathe while walking at an increasingly challenging pace. Okay, so you've been walking for a while and suddenly it starts getting easier. and you can breathe easier. And that's the time to make the walk a little bit more challenging. Like Erin suggested at the beginning, change your route, change your pace, even walking on different surfaces. If you're walking on the sidewalk, choose a park, walk on the grass, walk on gravel. It can really kind of change up things for your body and get your heart rate going. Okay, and the second indication is our heart rate. Okay, when our heart gets healthier, gets stronger, our resting heart rate, that means our heart rate when we rest, when we don't do anything, it gets lower because the heart muscle becomes stronger and it gets easier for it to pump larger amounts of blood in less repetitions. Okay, other kind of benefits of walking for your heart is that it expands our blood vessels, and as a result lowers high blood pressure. It helps our body create new blood vessels to increase blood flow to the organs and creates natural bypasses. And it enhances our body's ability to use oxygen efficiently and to deliver oxygen easily throughout the body. Okay, so if you feel that sometimes when you exercise, when you start walking, you feel a bit of leg cramps, so that might improve if you walk and you do the cardiorespiratory activity regularly, because it gets easier for the heart to supply oxygen and enough blood to the limbs, to your legs and your arms. So heart rate monitors, okay, I just wanted to mention that because it's a super easy and handy tool to really monitor if you're at an appropriate kind of exertion level when you walk. Because you really, it's nice, I mean, it's nice to walk for fun and just walk at the pace that you want to walk. But if we're talking about heart health, we really got to set some goals. So if you want to know what the appropriate heart rate is for you to kind of strengthen your heart muscle, you can talk about it with your trainer. And the heart rate monitor can help you make sure you're exercising at a challenging enough pace for the heart to become stronger. Okay, it's also a good way, as Erin mentioned before, to make sure your heart rate elevates gradually at the onset of the walk and lowers back at the end of it. Okay, otherwise the activity is too easy or too strenuous. Okay, we have to really monitor that and kind of put an emphasis on making sure we're at the appropriate heart rate for us. So that's a few bits of information about heart health. If you have any questions about this, feel free to ask me now or write in the chat. I'm here for you.
That's great. Thanks so much, Tamara. And great to see some questions coming through the chat. So developing a walking program, and this could be for you individually. I know we have some trainers that come to these webinars and they like to get some new information, and we welcome that. So it's the FIT principle. So frequency, intensity, type, time, and type. So there's an example that I have on the screen there from American Heart Association. So the frequency they're recommending is 5 times a week at moderate intensity. So I would classify moderate as you can have a chat with a friend, you know, a kind of answer a few questions, but, you know, you're not talking about the philosophy of life and long conversations, right? Like you are a little bit breathless. 30 minutes is the time. And as I mentioned before, you should be exercising a weekly total of 150 minutes. So it's not a bad idea to kind of jot it down on the back of a napkin. How much exercise am I getting? And just add it up. Does it add to 150 minutes? Yoga Nidra, I would not count in that, although it's amazing for meditation, all that kind of stuff. I absolutely love and I do a lot, but I wouldn't count that as part of my 150 minutes. That's a good lifestyle stress management tool. And the type in this situation is aerobic activity. So think through your walk. What's the frequency? What's the intensity? What's the time? And then is it going to be walking or strength training, etc.? I want to talk a little bit about interval walks because it's what we often don't do. So it's really just alternating short, vigorous bouts of walking with longer recovery intervals. And that's hugely impactful for your heart health, for getting some of those stress busting hormones, for burning more calories. It's really one of the most effective ways to burn calories. It actually is also good for your cells. So you burn and manufacture some new mitochondria when you do interval training, which is amazing, especially as we age. We can get the mitochondria in our cells firing more. It's incredible for our health. So there's a million different ways you can add intervals. And if you have examples, please do share them in the chat. There's basic time intervals. So you can say, okay, I'm going to warm up first. So maybe I'm going to warm up with a slower walk for 5 minutes, and I'm going to do 20 seconds fast, 40 seconds slow, for an example. And it could be, I'm just getting a little bit more breathless, or you look at your tracker and I'm going to increase my heart rate a little bit, and then I'm going to let it go down. Add hill walk repeats. So not only is it great to add a hill into your walk, but you don't have to go up it once. You can go up it, come down, and go up it again. As a great way to add interval walking. If you have a dog, they'll be very confused, but yeah, you can kind of go up and down a few times. Beat the clock. So if you love your route and we've been walking with a friend the same route all the time, great, keep it, but time yourself. So it usually takes me 30 minutes for that route. Oh, isn't it interesting? When I added some of these intervals in, it took me 29 minutes. So you can beat the clock from that perspective. I don't know if any of you are walking in a group, but what is sometimes fun if you have walkers at different speeds is to loop. So what that would be is you're all walking, and the fast walkers, if I'm running a walking group, I'll say loop, and I'll get the fast walkers to loop around to the back of the group. The moderate walkers stay in the middle, and the slower walkers always stay at the back. So you're able to walk together with people that might walk at different paces, and it's a bit fun. So we do various different loops. So if you are in a walking group, it's kind of a fun thing to add in. Okay, let me just have a quick peek at the chat. What is looping? Okay, does that make sense, Joni? Yeah. Okay, good. I hope it did. If not, ask again in the chat. I'll say it more clearly. So adding strength training to your walk. So a huge supporter of strength training. It's kind of a big part of what we do at Vintage Fitness. So as much as we enjoy walking, strength training is what most seniors don't do. I think in Canada, less than 20% of seniors strength train. And I'll show you a video here of it outside. I'm doing it. I think I have a band, and that's it. And most of us have a band that's gathering dust somewhere in our house that a physiotherapist gave us at some point in our life. If not, you can get them at Walmart, Canadian Tire, Amazon, they're around. So let's have a look at this, and I will send you the links to these videos to this afternoon.
Hi, this is Erin from Vintage Fitness. Today I'm going to break out of the gym and take you outside. And I'll do a series of 4 exercises that you can do anywhere. All you need is an exercise band, either a park bench or some sturdy garden furniture. So the first exercise is for the legs, and it's just sitting into the chair and sitting out. So you want to make sure that you're pushing your weight into the heels. You know exactly where the bench is. You're going to sit down. If you need to use your hands, you can, but try to do it without using your hands. To make this exercise harder, you can slow it down, so you can go 4 seconds up and 4 seconds down. The other thing you can do to make it harder is take your band, put it under your feet, hold on the sides of the band, and add a bit of resistance that way. So that's the first exercise. For the second exercise, you'll come around your bench. This is a great exercise for the sides of the legs. So option 1, you're going to hold on to the back of the bench and do a side step. To make this more difficult, which most of you probably need to do, you're going to take your band and tie it. Just don't tie it on the kneecap. Standing up nice and tall so you're not slouching. You're going to take a nice side steps over. To make it easier, you're going to stand tall and do the stepping. To make it harder, you're going to squat and do the stepping. Maybe try 8 to 15 of those, depending on how you're feeling. 2 more exercises. The next one is kickback. So this is really good for the glute muscles. Standing up tall, you're going to flex the foot, and you're going to, with a straight leg, kick the leg right back. Make sure you're not arching in the back. Stay nice and strong in the core, and only go as far back as you don't feel the low back. You just feel your glutes working. To make this more difficult, you can take the band and stand on one side. Take the other side and tie it. And do the same thing all on one side. Make that tighter. Just to get a bit of extra resistance. The next exercise is a hamstring curl. So instead of targeting the glutes, now you're targeting the back of the legs, the hamstrings. So you're curling and curling. So again, you can do this without the band, or you can do it with the band the same way. You're going to stand on the band with one foot, the other foot is going to be tied, and you're going to curl and release. So that back foot is flexed. I have something in front to hold on. Between 8 to 15 reps, and you should feel it right in the back of the legs. So enjoy busting out of the gym. And
okay, did those you've seen those exercises before, I'm sure. They're specifically kind of targeted for the legs to complement a walking routine. And I specifically think, okay, I want to make sure that the back of the leg really gets strengthened. So hamstrings is really important as an example of that, as well as the functional strength of sitting down into the chair and sitting out of the chair again. So if you have questions, I will send you the link to that video. If you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. All right. So upper body strength, again, important to add to your overall walking, because sometimes when I notice this actually with our clients, sometimes that when they join us, if they walk, their stamina is good. Their weight tends to be good, but sometimes what gets missing is the posture, because they're not doing any upper body training. So that's why I included the upper body strength in as part of this. So here we go, upper body.
This is Erin from Vintage Fitness, talking about how to take your workout outside. And this series of 4 exercises is all about building your upper body strength. So you can do it easily in your backyard. All you need is a bench and elastic resistance. So the first exercise is for the chest. You just go to behind the bench. To make it easier, you step closer into the bench. To make it harder, you step farther back. I pull my abdominal muscles in, I bend, and I push away. So maybe try 10 to 15 of these, and you should feel the work in the chest and the front of the shoulders. Next exercise, take your band, loop it around something. It could be a tree even. And then row. So you're pulling, keeping the shoulders relaxed, elbows drive behind you, working the mid back. Again, try 10 to 15 of these, always making it the right level of challenge for you. The mistake people make sometimes is they wing the elbows out. You want to keep the elbows nice and close. The third exercise, you're going to use the TheraBand. You're going to unloop it. This is for your rotator cuff. So the rotator cuff in the shoulder, which is a common injury for people. Keeping the elbows close in, bringing the band out in front. You're going to pull like you're trying to pull the band apart, feeling the muscles in the upper back working. To make this easier, you're going to just have one layer of band. And again, 10 to 15 times. doing each set of exercises 4 times through. Shoulders relaxed here. And the last exercise targets the back of the arm, which people often comment that they like a little bit more firm and tone in the back of the arm. So you're going to go just over to your bench. To make it harder, you step away. To make it easier, you step close, and you're just bending the elbows. You can take a break if you need it in between, or you can continue all the way through. Again, 10 to 15 times. Oh.
Okay, so hopefully those made sense. If you have a hard time with your wrists, I would just do the one where you hold the band behind, or you hold the band in front and extend down instead of that last one. So hopefully those make sense. I'm sure you've seen those exercises before. I just didn't want to do just walking and not emphasize how important strength training is. So Dee, you had a couple of things that you wanted to add in?
If that would be interesting, I'd love to. I have 4 very quick things. First thing is, it's never to all you lovely people there, it's never too late to start. I started running on a dare when I was 59, which was 7 years, Erin, before I met you. And I've been with Erin nearly 15 years. And it was wonderful because it was camaraderie. I actually pushed it and did 2 marathons when I was 61, wouldn't do them again, but thrilled I did them. But it's never too late to start anything. So that's my first comment. My second one is to make it really work. If you have, or if you're lucky enough to have a buddy or somebody with whom you can do it, that is fabulous. Because I can remember when we were training for the marathons, I had a buddy and I didn't want to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I knew I had to because I was meeting her on the corner. So that's a really good incentive, that you help each other to keep doing things. The third thing, going back to Erin's interval training, my opinion, Erin's I believe as well, and Tamara's, absolutely the best thing you can do. And you don't have to do it on time necessarily. So if, say, Erin, Tamara, and I were all going out together, one of us, and walking at a nice, fast but comfortable pace that you could probably keep for 30 minutes, something like that. And maybe Tamara would say, okay, quickest to that lamppost furthest down there. And you just go much quicker. And then you go back to that comfortable case again. And then maybe Erin would say much too soon, oh, and that one over there, let's try that one. So it can be quite fluid like that, and it can be fun. Last thing to say, on the chair sits, in other words, the up and downs, I say to all my clients, if I only gave you ever one exercise, and I could only give you one, I would give you chair sits, because it works on everything on your lower body. So you can get up from a chair, you can get up from the toilet, and you have also, as you go more and more and a little tiny bit faster and faster, you use your puff as well. So you're working your cardiovascular as well as all your lower body. That's all I wanted to add, Tamara and Erin. Thank you.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you for adding that in. And Karen, thank you for the note. You asked for more detail on the dip replacement. Yeah, sorry, I did that really kind of quickly. So on the last exercise in the upper body, I showed one at the end. I'm surprised I showed that. But anyway, it was a dip off the bench. So the muscle group that you're working is the tricep here. So there's lots of other ways. If you have a small hand weight, you can do this type of thing. If you have a band, you can hold the band here on your chest and extend the other arm out here like this. You can also, if your shoulders are okay, you can put the band behind you and pull this way. So feel free to email if you want more specific instruction on that, Karen. Can't see you still on the slide. I'll send you, you know what, I'll send you a video with, let me write that down, video tricep. Good. And Elaine, where do you find good advice when purchasing walking shoes and socks, especially when you get into hiking? Tamara, did you want to take that question or do you want me to take it?
I could advise, first of all, in the store, usually where they sell hiking equipment, the salespeople there have a lot of information. and you can just ask them, come in and ask them and explain what is the purpose, where you're going to hike, how much support do you need, what issues you have with your feet. And of course, there's the internet. Okay, so there are several websites that don't have like an agenda. They're not selling you anything. These are the best ones to look for. And they're usually just reviews, very in-depth reviews from people who are using this equipment, and they can kind of guide you in the right direction.
Thank you. And I would add, when I buy shoes, I take the insole out in the store and I put my foot down on it and make sure that my toes, I can spread wide and it's not going to go over the insole, because I don't want my toes squished, because it leads to bunions and it leads to incorrect gait. So you want to make sure that the front of the foot is wide enough. And then for walking, a running shoe or a walking shoe is best. I wouldn't say a cross trainer is that good for running shoes, unless you decide, okay, I want to buy one shoe for everything, and I also like to play pickleball. Then you want that lateral support. But really, a walking shoe or a running shoe is the best one if walking is your main activity.
Erin, if I could just add about hiking. It's usually wiser to get a shoe that is a bit larger than your size, and when you're trying it on, make sure you have somewhere to try when you're walking downhill and uphill. So you shouldn't be feeling your toes kind of touching the edge of the shoe. That's my tip about hiking shoes.
That's great. Thank
Erin, one thing I would love to add, just exactly what Tamara was saying, a really good shop, or one I always use, is New Balance, because they have a treadmill there as well. They have very experienced staff. They have a treadmill there, and they do exactly what you said, Tamara. They move the treadmill, they find out what you want, and also they have very wide ones. Believe they do the widest shoe. So there's something for everybody with very, very good staff. So that's New Balance.
Okay, thank you, Dee.
This is Erin from Vintage Fitness, talking about how to...
Done that. Okay, so, but these are some of the things that I hear from our clients. I have pain when I walk. So doing things like making sure you warm up properly is going to help with the pain. Making sure that your technique for your walking is going to help with the pain. If it's a sharp pain, I would say stop. If it's a dull ache because you have some arthritis in your ankle, if it feels manageable, just go slow at the beginning and let that joint lubricate, because the benefits of walking are so huge. I feel unmotivated. I get that. All of us do feel unmotivated at times. We talk a little bit more about, less about motivation and more about commitment. So, you commit to something, and then motivation will ebb and flow. You'll have lots of motivation at the beginning, and after about 3 weeks, you're like, oh, this was a bad idea. I don't like this. It's raining. Forget it. So really think about it. I'm going to commit. I'm going to commit to 3 months where I'm going to walk a little bit farther. I'm going to call my friend and we're going to walk 3 times a week, whatever it is. Think less about, am I feeling motivated today, or am I committed to this? I like my route and can't be bothered changing it. That's fine. You can add, intervals. You can go a little bit quicker. You can make sure you get those arms working. There's other things you do. If you really do like your route, I understand that, because I kind of like my route too. I feel uncomfortable in front of other people when using my arms or walking poles when I walk. I kind of get that too. Like, as I was kind of getting ready for this webinar, I was doing like the full on, and I thought, people are looking at me strange. And I thought, well, I don't care. It's too bad. I'm doing my walk. I'm into this walk, and here I go. So one of the joys about getting older is like, oh, wow, too bad. This is how I'm walking. So if that's a concern for you, I would just let it go. When I see people walking like that, I'm like, yes, that looks great. They're active, they're engaged. So I don't know if you have other buts that you want to go into, but and the last slide, I just wanted to mention that the whole Vintage Fitness team of trainers and hopefully many of our clients, we're trying to get rope in. We're going to do a walk as part of the TCS. It used to be the Scotiabank Toronto Marathon on the 16th of October, we're going to do a 5K walk together. And we're supporting this family, Haroon, Samira, and Hanya, who came from Afghanistan. I'm involved with my church supporting them. So that's what we're raising money for. But we're also wanting to get together as a group and support the kind of active lifestyle that we'd like to have. So let me stop share for a minute and just see if anyone has any other questions. And now that you can see me, I'll properly demonstrate that tricep exercise because I didn't know you couldn't see me. So if the exercise where we were dipping, another way to do that would be any weight. So any of this kind of movements with a hand weight, you can do it with a band. You can hold the band here and extend the arm. So again, working the tricep, or you can bring the band overhead and do it here. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of it. I will send you the recording, which has all the videos in it. And I will send you the link because we would love to see you, and you'd get a Vintage Fitness t-shirt if that's a motivator. The whole team, actually Dee, Tamara, and I for sure are going to be there walking on the 16th of October. So we would love to see you, and it is walking for a great cause. So any other questions for us before we kick off? Oh, good. Thank you, Hillary. I'm glad that was helpful. Is there any walking groups in the city? That's a great. I don't know of any, but I can research it. Tamara or Dee or anyone else? Do you guys know of or are part of a walking group you could recommend to Hillary? Or sorry, to Deirdre? There is, if you have a running room near you.
I was just going to say that.
Oh, yeah. So running room has walking groups as well. So that's an easy one, depending on what part of the city you're in. If you do have a running room around you or any running store, just walk in and ask if they have a walking group.
And most of them do, I believe, Erin, and that's a wonderful way to sort of meet maybe one other person that's very close to you that you feel is really nice and say, well, we can do it on other days as well. It's a good thing.
Amazing. So I'm going to stop